Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, has written to every member of the House of Lords, urging them not to defeat the government over the Brexit bill.
Lord Hain joins us live from South Wales this morning. Good morning to you, Lord Hain. Now, look, you had a bill to try and basically trigger Article 50 whilst allowing us to remain in a single market. It got voted down. Are you disappointed that it got voted down? Were you expecting...
I am disappointed because I think the jobs and prosperity of the economy and people's futures, their families, depend on being in the single market, tariff-free, barrier-free, so you can trade your goods and services from Britain and the other way around without any customs controls, without any kind of blockages. And being part of the richest biggest single market in the world is really important for our jobs and prosperity. Yeah. But I lost that argument because the government is not wanting to accept any amendments at all, so there you are.
Didn't you lose that argument in the referendum campaign because those who voted leave knew that they were voting to leave the single market?
Well, a lot of the Leave leaders actually said they wanted to stay in the single market and promised people that they would. People voted to leave the European Union. I respect that. I didn't agree. I think it's actually bad for the country, but I respect it. Nobody saw on their ballot paper, do you want to stay part of the single market or not?
Although Michael Gove, Boris Johnson, David Cameron and George Osborne, two sets of important voices on either side of the campaign, said we will be leaving the single market.
Yes, and then others said we wanted to stay. I had an email from somebody who voted leave on the basis he was promised by a campaigner they would stay. But anyway, that's in the past. I think to salvage something positive from what I think is going to be a very rocky few years for the British economy and for jobs, I think we should have stayed in the single market. But anyway, I lost that argument.
Yeah, I mean,
here's the problem. Here's the problem. All right, Lord Hain, let me put this to you. It seems to me here's a bigger problem. When you try and paint a picture of doom, gloom and the apocalypse is nearly upon us, you know, I think back to the debate over the euro when I was running the Daily Mirror and I was persuaded by all the experts that it would be apocalyptic if we didn't enter the euro. I supported it with the paper, and it turned out not to be remotely apocalyptic. When we were told by the Remain camp that if we actually Brexited, immediately there would be financial Armageddon and apocalypse. It never happened. So a lot of people are looking at these things and thinking, we're always warned that if we don't do this or that, we're going to end up in financial meltdown. And it rarely happens. So why should we believe you, John Major, and the others now when you're painting such a doom-laden picture?
Well, let's just look at what's happening. Already, as you know, the pound has fallen, and that means higher food prices, higher petrol prices as well. So that's a consequence that happened straight after the referendum. Already, BMW is saying that they're probably going to make the electric Mini a very important part of the future of the British car industry, probably in Germany. Banks are saying they're going to need to move their staff and their offices onto the European continent so that they can take part in the biggest, richest single market in the world. It's not scaremongering, it's actually what is happening, and there'll be a lot more of that. I think you'll find, for example, companies like Nissan, companies like Ford, near me here in Bridgend, they will say, well, we're not going to necessarily have investment here in Britain because we don't want to have our cars charged more to get into the biggest market in the world. We actually want to trade as we are barrier-free.
Yeah,
but anyway, that's for the future.
And you've already said that, you know, this amendment about the single market, it's been defeated, and that would have been, in some people's minds, rewriting history because of the pledges of the campaign. But there's something very important. There's a very important amendment to the EU citizens who have, you know, a future in this country which currently looks unclear. Yes. Now, the Home Secretary has pointed out, as we all know, that this is something that can't be guaranteed until that's guaranteed by other EU countries for British citizens living abroad. So what is the point of this amendment?
The point of this amendment is to make sure that those families who've settled in Britain from the European continent for many years, got children at school, some of them have married British citizens and now face an uncertain future. Will they be deported back to France, Germany, wherever, Poland, wherever it may be? That they have a right to stay here, and that's an important principle. And equally, British citizens, as you say, in Spain, living in Spain or France or wherever it is, have the right to stay there. This is a two-way thing, but we're stating an important principle here, and that is why this vote will be in the House of Lords later today, and I think it probably will be carried because there's a cross-party feeling that actually this is a matter of human rights and decency, and Britain has always been about decency towards people.